Hello and welcome to Alert, authentic lived experience, real talk. You are very, very welcome. We would love you to like our channel, subscribe and of course comment, and we will get back to you. This is Ronnie,
Hi.
Nick.
Hello.
And Patrick. Today the focus is a question as usual, and the question today is for all of us, so I'm going to start with you, Ronnie.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. Here's the question, Ronnie. What do you wish people understood about your past and your addiction?
Oh, that's a tricky one, that is, and I think it's going to touch a few nerves and stuff. Obviously my past is my past, isn't it? So it's not really anybody else's business, but the way I used to drink and use cocaine, it was everybody's business. So people have a right, in my opinion, to know about my past and to think about it. But I used to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. I didn't like who I was, and it used to give me a release from who I was and what I did. I was uncomfortable in my own skin, so I used to use substances to do it. Let's get it right, alcohol and cocaine, mind-altering substances. Cocaine, dentists use it, so it's the best painkiller known to man, I would imagine. So if I wanted to escape my feelings, which I often did, obviously I'm going to use a chemical like that. Alcohol's a mind-altering substance, and as I always say, no good decisions ever made after 3 points of Carling or Stella especially. So yeah, that, and I've said before, and I'll say it again, like, alcohol used to lie to me. I would pass a lie detector test when I used to say I'm going for 2 points after work. 100% genuine, I was going for 2 points. After 2 points, wild horses wouldn't pull me away from the pub. And I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't understand the chemicals, I didn't understand nothing like that. But obviously, when I've taken a substance, my mind's been altered, so I don't know what I'm going to do after that. So I can't make these decisions. So after I've had 2 or 3 points, my decisions that I'd made before are no longer my own. And once I've taken that substance, off I go, and I'm off and running, I'm at the races and all bets are off. And I just wish people that knew that it was nothing personal. I honestly 100% was not lying to anybody when I said that, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be different this time, because I believed it in my heart of hearts, and I still believe it now. Listen, I'm responsible for every action. Everything that I did in the past, I did, and I can't take none of that back, and I wish I could. But none of them decisions were made by me. They were always made once I'd got on my beer scooter, once I'd had a drink, and I was off at the races, and that's all I can say. I can apologise to my heart's content for the things I've done in the past, but them decisions wasn't made by me. And if I could have my time again, I would, but I can't, and all I can do is apologise for the people. The programme that I work has asked me to have a good look at myself. I've had to do step work and stuff. And I'm comfortable with what's happened in the past for myself. There's a few people that have been hurt that I've still got to make amends to, and I will in time. And that's all I'd like people to understand about my past and my addiction, is it was nothing personal. I never went out to hurt anybody, and I genuinely believed that what I was doing was right at the time. And once I took them mind-altering substances, all bets are off. Let's get it right. They're mind-altering, so any decision I'd made after them weren't my own. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I think that's a brilliant answer, Ronnie. I think that's spot on, to be honest with you. It is a mind-altering substance, and we're not ourselves, are we? And people forget, so I think that's a brilliant answer. Thank you, thank you. Nick,
hello.
I'm going to ask you the question. What do you wish people understood about your past and your addiction?
I think the interesting thing is that now I'm in recovery, I get it, I understand it all. When I was in addiction, I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I didn't want to get it. But equally, nor my family didn't get it. My family didn't understand why I'd take a substance as a drink for me instead of that was more important than them, you know. And why is Daddy taking a drink instead of not playing with us, and etc. etc. And I think that the interesting thing is that, you know, doing this now and reflecting, you kind of do get it, because we talk a lot about a lot of things in recovery. But when you're in addiction, you don't get it. You don't understand. You don't know why. Why the hell do I get drunk? People drink when they're ill. People drink when they've had a really bad time. You know, I saw someone the other day who came into a situation where it had a load of drink, going through a detox, and going through the horrible. It was good for me to say that because it meant I don't want to go through a drink again. But
Yeah.
I think your scenario is that, you know, when you're in an addiction, you don't want to. You don't think about recovery. You don't think about stopping drinking. You don't think about stopping taking a substance. Only in recovery do you start to really reflect and ask those questions and have the answers and do what we do and do a bit of lived experiences, which is what we're doing. And I think, you know, as Ronnie said, I want to go on his beer scooter. I don't want to go on his beer scooter.
No, definitely not.
You know, it was good in the day, but we look at each other now, we socialise with each other now, and we don't drink now, we don't take our substances now. We have a lot of good fun together.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing as well about recovery, being the fun. But, you know, we didn't know each other in addiction. Probably a good job, really.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, so that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Oh, Patrick.
Yeah.
What do you wish people understood about your past and your addiction?
Everything and nothing.
Yeah, everything and nothing.
Everything and nothing.
Say more, say more.
Yeah, because I think we said, but I own everything I've done. Every single thing I've done. I knew why I was doing them. I know even more now that I'm in recovery as to what it was doing for me while I was using it. But I knew that anyway. No one else has to know. Nobody else. It was nobody else's job to understand why I drank so much. It was mine, and I didn't have the capacity to understand it at the time. Just to come to where Nick comes to, you do reflect a bit more, you do a bit more work on yourself, you do a bit of therapy, you do a bit of smart recovery, you do a bit of step work, you do a bit of fellowship, you do a bit of everything. If you're me, you're locked about 200 hours of podcast every day, even though there's only 24 in each one. I'll drift or I'll try and cram them in. I'd like to hope they understand now that those decisions, as Ron said, they weren't my own. Most of those decisions weren't my own.
The decisions weren't your
They
own.
were made in my head,
Yeah.
but they were formulated by alcohol and cocaine. And some wild decisions get made along those ways. So for that bit, then, like I say, people don't have to understand why I drink. What I do wish is that people had, not just for me, more compassion around people that do find themselves in addiction. Because I don't know one person that woke up one morning, one afternoon, one evening and said, right, today's the day I ruin my life and this is what I'm going to use to do it. Not one of us chose that. I've had this concept, but I kind of chose addiction because I kind of chose alcohol because I knew what it did and it took me away from myself, it got me out of myself, it made me feel like I could actually function and operate. So I just kept doing it. But the reason I was doing that is because I didn't know any other way. Didn't know any other way of coping with the life that I had. Even when I got to 50, I was still a child.
Yeah.
But because I've been relying on substances for that long, I'm still going to be a child. Emotionally, I was broken. And I think I've said it before, I had emotional sobriety this time around, and that was the difference for me. I've had sobriety before, I've had a couple of 3-4 years of it. Miserable, depressed, hated it. You said to Normus last week, hated it, and I hated it. And this is why some people relapse a lot of the times, because I really hated it. I hated myself, I hated my partner at the time. Done nothing wrong, did nothing to me. I just hated it because I weren't drinking because she was around, she didn't want me drinking, so it's your fault, I hate you, I get spiteful. That inner voice of mine gets spiteful.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing you'd like people to understand, is that even when we don't drink, the mind is still, people say it, the mind is still drunk. The mind still thinks like an alcoholic, the mind still thinks like an addict. That's the bit I wish people would understand when they're trying to support people to recover,
Okay.
more than anything else. But I'll leave it there for a moment till we go around again. Because I have a lot more.
That's how I feel it is. That, anything that I did when I was in the madness of addiction and that, I was ill, and that wasn't my fault, but they are my responsibility, and I fully own everything that I've ever done. So it wasn't my fault because the decisions weren't made by me, they were made when I was drunk. So there was nothing I could do about them decisions, because if I could have, I wouldn't have made the same decision, but they are my responsibility now, and I have to own that and I have to live with it, and that's why I have to do what I do. That's why I have to work a daily programme, because otherwise I'd send myself mad. and I've got to let that past go now. So
I think what you're saying there is really good, because, as I said, all of a sudden now we're reflecting. We're looking at our life as a journey. We're on a journey, and we made some mistakes and we had some hard times, and now we're recovering. And I think you've just hit it on the head. You can reflect now, but you can reflect without a mind-altering substance in your body. And that is so important, because you can actually have a sensible conclusion to it all.
I'm recovering and I still make some mistakes and some bad decisions right away.
nothing's going to change.
I was going to say,
that.
I make mistakes all the time.
Only on a daily basis.
So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Look, it's where we learn, it's where we grow, you know, in our mistakes, you know. So, for me, what do I wish people understood about my past and my addiction? I was misunderstood. So I'd like people to understand that that person that they encountered wasn't the real me. That young lady was anxious and full of fear, full of self-hatred, and the way I behaved was to be the loudest, scariest person in the pub, because I was terrified that somebody would try and hurt me, so I was a different person so that they wouldn't try and hurt me. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
So I was very aggressive, and it was all fear. It was all fear. You don't choose, I didn't choose to be a drinker. Nobody chooses to get into addiction. 1 minute you're bumping along, whether it's drinking, doing cocaine, cannabis, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. One day you're bumping along thinking, oh, I'll just do it on a Friday night, and before you know it, you're doing it every night. And you don't get a choice as to when that happens. The control is gone, and you did not push the button to lose control. It goes. And that's what I want people to understand, not just about my past, and my past addiction, about everybody who has ever identified as having an addiction problem. They did not choose it, they did not press a button, and therefore anybody who is taking a substance is vulnerable. Anybody. And what I would like is people to have more compassion, for the language to change when they're talking about people in addiction, because they're all humans first. For me, they're human beings. They've made some decisions. A lot of people have got, you know, big sad stories behind them. You know, and luckily we've met loads of people that have got big sad stories behind them, but actually are thriving in their 40s and 50s now, which is beautiful to see. But that doesn't mean that they still don't feel the stigma. So I just want people to understand that nobody chooses addiction. Yeah, you don't choose it. Yeah, but it is absolutely your responsibility to get out of it once you realise you're in it.
It only took me 40 years to choose my addiction.
Yeah.
You know, that functioning alcoholic for 25 years, as I've said before, and I think the interesting thing was that I got worse and worse and worse. Didn't go to the careers teacher at school and said I wanted to be an alcoholic. You know, I became an alcoholic, you know, 40 years after I started drinking, really. I've been an alcoholic for 20 years probably, but a daily drink. And so what you're saying, absolutely understand, because it can happen. It can happen very quickly.
Yeah.
It can happen, and it can take a long time, and it took me a long time. So it's an interesting one. Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be substances that you get addicted. You can get addicted to all sorts of stuff. So
Oh, absolutely.
it's exactly right.
Absolutely.
It's just, and nobody that gets addicted to gambling wanted to get addicted to gambling.
Nope.
And I know plenty of people that gamble and aren't addicted.
Or don't identify as being addicted.
Yeah. Or even aren't addicted. I know a few weekend gamblers that they've got the bills. They'll spend the money on whatever they want to spend it on, but they're still. That's the case. If you touch drugs, you're taking the risk. If you bet on a horse, you're taking the same risk as your gambling addict.
Yeah.
So, but people don't see it as that. It's not a substance,
Yeah.
but it's still a choice.
Yeah.
And but you didn't choose when you became a gambling addict. You didn't choose when you became an addict, as you say before. It's not It's not a day, that day that you wake up, right, today's the day. Can't wait to push that self-destruct button. Can't wait, no matter what the horror stories I've heard before, I can't wait to split up with my partner. I can't wait for my son not to talk to me for the rest of my life. I can't wait to have to sell my house. I can't wait to have no money. I can't wait to lose my job. Nobody wakes up like that. Nobody chooses it.
No.
And as for the language, I do it now sometimes, so perhaps I shouldn't, but I'm very vocal about my addiction. But first of all, I say, yeah, alcoholic. I'll look at you. A few side looks, little glances. Yeah, and a cocaine addict. The whole look changes. The whole look and the whole vibe I get when I tell people I'm an alcoholic, I get a lot more sympathy than when I say I'm a cocaine addict. They look at me because it's drugs. That's illegal drugs. Yeah, well, alcohol should probably be illegal as well, mate. However,
Probably.
Yeah. Well, that's for we don't want to spoil our next podcast. But yes, I do it now just to see the different reaction. There's all of a sudden the old ladies are holding the purse. When I say I'm an alcoholic, oh, do you have one too many sherries? Yeah, something like that. But yeah, when I say them are coke addicts, they're holding around bags, they're holding the purses.
It's funny that you're absolutely spot on. The difference between the labels, and I've seen it in group before, where people in recovery, I've seen and I've heard people ask questions to somebody about their behaviour when they'd identified as using cocaine, and the shock from somebody in the group. But it's okay to take alcohol because it's illegal. It's
but yet
bizarre,
you're
but I
in
understand.
the same room, in the
With the
same
same
meeting,
problem.
with the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
problem, which is
yeah.
addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction is the issue,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the substance
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
the
Yeah.
vessel that you use for your addiction.
Yeah.
I think what you say there is quite interesting because I was always an alcoholic, and as I've said before, didn't really take drugs. So I was better than everybody else because I was only an alcoholic. And then I've met friends in recovery who have substance abuse more than drink, and they're great people, and all of a sudden my mindset has changed to
Are you admitting to that? I'm really glad you're admitting to that snobbery.
I've snob,
Oh,
and
good
it
for you.
is a snobbery,
Yeah, it is,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's well, I didn't take drugs. I only drink.
I only drank
I
red
only
wine.
drank. I was only alcoholic. I was Cosby. But no, that's and you know, when you meet people and you see the whole picture, your mindset in recovery changes. Absolutely,
Yeah.
really important. This
Yeah.
because what we're talking about now. The first question we asked a few minutes ago about mindsets and stuff. My mindset across the whole thing is an addict's an addict, no matter what it is, and we treat the same. But then, you know, we could do a whole load of podcasts about this sort of subject: alcohol, drugs, the whole difference, and things like that. There's so many questions we can ask. But I think the scenario is that you know, I've learnt a lot over the last 18 months. Really have.
For me, this is the reason we do this anyway, but this is the reason more of this needs to happen because I'll have to confess I was the same as Nick. I was alcohol and cocaine. Cocaine was everywhere, so cocaine was acceptable to me. Heroin wasn't acceptable to me.
So double standards.
Yeah, heroin wasn't acceptable to me. Crack wasn't acceptable to me. You can do it if you want to, but I'm now better than you. And you got the other one that I've heard in the meeting before, I'm not living on a park bench, I've still got a job, I'm still working, I'm still doing this, so I'm all right, Jack, anyway. But yeah, the snobbery, because I was brought up with those horrible, I don't even want to say them in this podcast because you know the words that we use for crack and heroin and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just that language alone keeps people down and keeps them isolated. But yeah, I had the same snobbery as Nick.
Let's get it right.
I was better than you.
Excuse me, you made a point that I wasn't the same as you. I didn't take cocaine. Excuse me, do you mind?
But I think that many people with any addiction look at other people, or let's focus on drink. I'm thinking at the moment it's the comparison. Well, I don't drink as much as she does. She's had her kids taken away from her. You know, it's this comparison when actually most people are in the same struggle. It's just that some people are deeper.
Let's get it right. It gives you permission to do what
I
you do.
don't have to stop now because I'm not as bad.
Yeah, I used to go to AA meetings and I used to go to NI meetings just to feel good about myself and to justify what I was doing because I'd always thought I've got an extra couple of months in myself because I ain't as bad as these. I don't take, like you've just said, I don't inject, I don't take crack, I don't take heroin, I don't steal from anybody. I've got the means to do what I'm doing, so I'm not hurting anybody. I've still got time left in me. I can still carry on enjoying myself a bit because I'm not as bad as these. And we all do it with everything. You look and you say, what's the first, in a relationship, what's the first thing you say if somebody says you're drinking too much? Well, I ain't as bad as your dad, am I?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Comparison.
You know, and it's comparison just because you want to justify what you do. It's not, nobody's has a limit where you say I'm drinking too much as such. It's just the fact that if you can pick on somebody else, it takes the light off you and you can carry on doing what you're doing.
But that is why the addiction catches you from behind, because you don't have a limit on when you become an addict. I've asked this question before. What drink, not flavour, fuck, or anything, what drink was the drink that you drank that meant you could never stop? Was it, does that question make sense? So which one was it? Was it the third one
First
on the
one.
Wednesday? Was it, well, it was the first one.
The first
It
one?
was the
I know the
first
answer.
one.
Yay.
However, but if you actually went to look at it and you actually, someone had to say, were you 35 when you had that one extra drink that tipped you over the edge that meant you couldn't, if you hadn't have had that drink and stayed at your normal level, would you have been an alcoholic? You can't put a number on it.
No, because you can't put an age on it.
And
Because
this
I
is
think
why
that
people don't choose to be addicts.
But I think that people are in active addiction for years before they actually call it what it is. I think people are in active addiction. I was in active addiction from the age of 15, 16. Once I'd started drinking, that was the beginning of it for me.
And how many people out there now are in active addiction but haven't admitted it? Millions.
I really don't know.
Millions and millions.
And I think
Absolutely.
the point that you've made there, we've admitted it, we've found we've got a problem. For whatever reason, no matter what, whatever reason, we've found that it's a problem, we've gone and got help.
Yeah.
And we've connected and we've done what we've done. And I think the sad thing is there's millions of people in the world who are addicts. They don't want to be addicts or they don't want to admit being addicts. They might have a problem. If somebody has 6 pints tonight and 6 pints tomorrow and 6 pints the night after, which they do, they have a problem. They don't choose to have a problem, they won't admit it. They go on with their lives and that's fine.
So I feel like the key message from this is compassion. Yeah, we don't choose, when we fall into addiction. Yeah, it's our responsibility to get out, but ultimately we want people to cultivate some compassion, self-compassion and compassion for others.
It's got to be self-compassion is important. Because the only person that's going to make you stop is yourself.
Yeah.
But obviously those people that are connected to you, your friends and the people that want you well, that's massively important as well. But yeah, absolutely agree with that.
How do you find self-compassion?
That's another podcast, Pat, I'm afraid.
Definitely.
I can tell you it's not at the bottom of 12 cans of Carling.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Self-destruction's at that one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm going to give you self-compassion. Pat, I love you, all right?
Right.
There you go.
I think it's been a really good session, guys. All right, I'm going to wrap up now. Have we got anything you want to finish on? Anything? Nick, have you got anything that you want to say? Because you're usually the one that wants to say something.
I'm normally the one. What are you trying to say, Lou? Yeah,
You've got 30 seconds.
It's quite interesting because we were making a point a couple of minutes ago about you tried drinking 2 bottles of vodka because people used to say to me in my addiction, well, I don't drink 2 bottles of vodka. I only drink wine. And I used to get that all the time. They were still alcoholics, still the same. So absolutely get that. That's me finished.
But you're right, compassion, self-compassion, and understand most of us are scared little kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get down to the bottom of it, most of us are just scared, emotionally hindered children.
Yeah.
That'll do for me.
If I had to add something, I'd say we all live in glass houses.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? We can all look at people and we can all say things. Judge, but everybody's got coping mechanisms. If anybody in the world without an addiction or without anything, or what we refer as normal people, there isn't a person in the world that doesn't do one thing that they wish they could change, and they can't because it fills a gap for them. It numbs the pain. So, listen, like you said, a compassion. We all do things that we don't want to do, and we still do them. So just have a little think about how you feel about people.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You have been watching Alert, Authentic Lived Experience, Real Talk. Please like, subscribe and comment. That is LSC, not LSD. LSC, like, subscribe and comment. Thank you.